Ridin Biden is once again humiliated on the world stage. All his concerns over his cognitive decline grow. We're going to take a look at the disaster in Riyadh. We're going to see the growing calls for Biden to step down here at home. And make sure to stick with me to the very end of this video when I'll reveal who is already being talked about to replace Biden in 2024. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your patriot professor here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Gang, you know what else I want you to do? I want you to do what we did over the weekend in Pennsylvania. I want you to stick it to cancel culture, but this time by clicking on the link below and supporting our dear friend Mike Lindell and My Pillows. You know, Walmart stores have canceled Mike's products from their shelves, and so to show support for this amazing patriot, it's more important than ever, and he's given the love right back to us. Mike is wonderful. If you use my code Turley, you can now get a classic My Pillow that's normally $69.98 for only $19.98, and that applies to over 200 products in their catalog. That discount there. So don't wait. Click on the link below. Get one for yourself. Get another for the patriots in your life. Let's support our dear friend and fellow patriot Mike Lindell, and let's get the best sleep of our lives in the process. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. You know, what do you say about old Joe, right? You heard what people are doing in my backyard here in Delaware. Did you hear about the new fad that's out there? They're posing for what's being called the hashtag Biden Bike Challenge. Have you seen these pictures? They're all over Twitter. They're hilarious. People are posing at the very spot where Biden fell off his bike. They're lying down all toppled over the asphalt. It's absolutely hilarious. But it certainly is symbolic. That little plunge that Biden took where he couldn't find his balance and lost his footing and just toppled over. It's not just the butt of some hysterical memes. It's certainly that. But Biden's little bike incident has really become a metaphor for the entirety of his administration. And few examples of that can match the colossal failure that was his Saudi Arabia trip over the weekend. Even the relatively measured fellows over at National Review called the trip, quote, a humiliating defeat. And they're coming out and saying that the wheels are indeed coming off this presidency. An obviously very apt metaphor. Everyone knew going in that this was going to be a disaster of a trip. Everyone except Biden, apparently. Rather than drill for oil here at home, rather than put Americans to work in energy production and independence, Biden is bending the knee to nations like Saudi Arabia in what turned out to be a futile effort to getting them to increase their per-day oil production. It actually all started off with Saudi Arabian officials basically snubbing Biden. He was originally greeted by the mayor of Mecca, who's just a regional governor. So he basically got snubbed by the national government when he arrived. And then, of course, he had the now unanimously recognized public relations disaster fist pump with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And it was considered a disaster because Biden had touted before their meeting that he was going to confront and excoriate the Crown Prince over the killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And instead, he shows up and he acts like Salman's best buddy. So the mainstream media was aghast at that, obviously, especially the Washington Post, and it all went downhill from there. Originally, Biden claimed that the prince agreed to increase oil production, but Saudi officials very, very quickly smacked that down. They made it very clear that Saudi Arabia would not, in fact, be pumping more oil. And in effect, they showed the world who's really in charge. It's not the people who've been spending the last couple of decades trying to control finance like the dolts in Davos and D.C. It's those who control fuel, those who control food. They're the ones who are running the world right now. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see real friends and who's really calling the shots, here you go. That's what it looks like when you snub the training wheels president, get him to basically absolve you of murdering a Washington Post journalist, and send him home while telling him no more oil. I mean, that is how it's done. As for things here at home, let's just say it ain't much better. Former White House physician Ronnie Jackson is openly suggesting that Biden may be suffering from a condition that's exacerbating his cognitive decline. Jackson has been perhaps the single most prominent medical professional to call for Biden to take the very same cognitive assessment test that President Trump took and aced, by the way, a couple of years back. Some months ago, Jackson, along with 13 other Republican congressmen, signed an open letter calling on Biden to prove to the American people once and for all, given what we've all seen with our own eyes, he needs to prove to all of us that he is cognitively capable of handling his job as president. And these guys are hardly alone in this. Tucker Carlson is openly accusing administration officials of medicating Biden, drugging him up when he has to speak so as to hide the cognitive decline. And political strategist Dick Morris has word that Biden aides are attacking Kamala Harris with all this negative press precisely in order to prevent her from invoking the 25th Amendment. Right? The 25th Amendment provides the protocol for the transference of power whenever a sitting president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, which, of course, involves transferring that power to the sitting vice president. Cackles Kamala in this case. But more than that, I mean, it expressly states that the majority of the president's cabinet, his or her own appointees, must agree to the transfer. So according to Dick Morris, Biden's people are pushing all of this negative press on Kamala via their leaks to the media so as to keep her and her people at bay from even considering invoking the 25th Amendment. But that alone is not going to fix things for Biden. In a relatively recent poll, 66% of voters think Biden should take a cognitive test, and that even includes 43% of Democrats. Nearly 7 in 10 voters want Biden to take a cognitive test. And again, it's not just American voters. Even the international media sees it. The international media is openly writing about Biden's obvious cognitive degeneracy. Look at some of these headlines. This is from the British Times. Joe Biden's gaffe fuels claims of cognitive decline. The British Express. Biden faces fresh fears over cognitive decline after Putin cannot remain in power speech. Piers Morgan is openly stating that Biden is obviously showing increasing signs of age-related cognitive decline. So now the obvious question is, what are the Dems going to do about 2024? It's a question that more and more Dems and more leftist media outlets are openly asking. And we're going to see what they're saying in just a moment. But first, you got to get yourself one of these cool shirts, Biden falling off into the asphalt by enjoying our Christmas in July sale at Turley Talks merch store. But just clicking on that link below, we've been winning so much of late that we wanted to celebrate those wins with a special 4th of July sale all throughout the month of July. So make sure to click on that link below. And for a limited time, if you buy 2 shirts, you're going to get one absolutely free. That's right. Get 2 for yourself and 1 for the patron in your life. They're going to absolutely love you for. Click on that link below or go to store.turleytalks.com. That is store.turleytalks.com. All right, so the articles are even now being written, right? Who's going to replace Ridin Biden? Again, even the New York Times is coming out and basically saying Biden should not be running again. There's inevitably going to be somebody else in 2024, which of course means that power vacuum has to be filled. Among the names in contention are Gavin Newsom of California, of course, almost got recalled at one point. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who went on paternal leave when the supply chain crisis was just getting going. And other failed Democratic presidential candidates like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. In other words, the Democrats are desperate. The Dems are desperate. Things are so bad, I kid you not, that even AOC is in the top 10 list of their potential candidates. That's how desperate they've become. They put forward a weekend at Bernie's candidate for 2020, and now they're paying for it. They're left with this mess. They're left with a power vacuum with no one of substance to fill it. So obviously we'll be keeping an eye on how things develop here, but with this latest foreign trip humiliation and an increased chatter of a resignation to come, the wheels are coming off the Biden regime. The bicycle crash heard round the world. was just the beginning. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on Liz Cheney falling apart as her primary disaster looms. You're not going to believe how far down she is behind her opponent. It's going to make your day. So make sure to click on that link, and I will see you over there. God bless.